to this person, it's like you're not human because of the condition that has brought you from your home to this hospital. So remember, patients did not bring themselves. So remember, your body language it's supposed to enhance understanding and promote better health outcomes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this whole new season where we are looking at communication within the healthcare system. And this is Beyond Condition, a platform that is there to support all of us who are journeying with chronic conditions through the healthcare system and the intricacies of life and towards realizing a full life despite living with chronic conditions. And I'm your host, Trish Barasa, and today I'm joined by a new co-host. Yes.
My name is Marilyn Josephine, and I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, karibu
And
sana.
very
Welcome,
glad to
Marilyn.
see you looking healthy and
Thank you.
fresh.
Thank you. You look beautiful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So today we're looking at communication in the healthcare system, and today's episode particularly addresses the issue of effective communication, and Marilyn will be co-hosting with me.
So, what do you mean by effective communication, especially in the healthcare sector?
So, effective communication is really about being able to exchange. And we're looking at patients and healthcare workers, and they're exchanging this way by way communicating in a very respectful manner and in a clear way that promotes understanding.
Okay.
So, if you're trying to talk about medicine, if you're trying to talk about a condition, if you're telling a patient about what symptoms they're going through, they're also reporting back that feedback, and the communication you're giving them should be very clear and in a respectful manner and in a way that promotes understanding.
So, does active listening make part of effective communication, and how does it impact a patient?
Oh, yes. Active listening is very, very important to effective communication. And I'll probably just bring in a scenario. Number one, you're able to get what the patient is telling you. And remember, you're giving them time to explain themselves, so you're not interrupting.
Okay.
Yes, and you're directing the conversation, but you're not interrupting. Yeah, and this way they're able to ask questions they have, they're able to talk. And again, because it's active, you're listening between the lines and you're also listening around the edges, just in case there's something they're not saying, the unspoken word, what they're not saying in their words
But they're
verbally,
expressing
but
through
they're
gestures,
expressing it.
maybe, or facial
Yes,
expressions.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So
So
that's
nonverbal communication is also part of effective communication in healthcare.
it is, and it's a very important part, especially in healthcare.
Mm.
Yeah, because then we're looking at the cues, the
So
body gestures.
what would you label as a nonverbal communication, maybe in the health?
So, for instance, and maybe I'll give the perspective both from the patient side and the healthcare workers side. Let's say you're going to a nurse, and this nurse sneers at you. What do you want? You have come in. What do you need? The doctor is not in. You see, just from their facial expressions, they're sneering.
Yeah, by the way, and then Tiana, it lowers your esteem. Maybe if you are a regular person who goes there, because for chronic illnesses, you are constantly at the hospital most of the time.
Exactly.
And then the first thing that is happening is the nurse is maybe raising their eyebrows or sneering. You get discouraged.
They are
already.
raising their voice at you. They're almost shouting at you. They're shouting you down. So it makes you feel undermined. It's also very demeaning. You're almost like, to this person, it's like you're not human because of the condition that has brought you from your home to this hospital. So remember, patients did not bring themselves. At the same time, patients also communicate through their facial expressions, through their body gestures and posture, and they also communicate sometimes in their voices. They will scream when they're in pain. They will lean over almost into a fetal position when someone is in a lot of pain in their tummy. Sometimes they will also show disinterest.
Oh.
Yes, like you're continuing to talk and they're not listening
Because
to you
it's
anymore.
just so tired.
they are so tired and they're
Or
wondering, can
maybe
we
the
just
headache.
can we get on to the next place already, which is I need my medicine.
Okay.
Again, healthcare workers, when they're tired, they show it in their faces, and it's very common. So remember, your body language it's supposed to enhance understanding and promote better health outcomes. So this nonverbal communication contributes to the effectiveness of the communication in healthcare.
In regards to nonverbal communication and effective communication, it is not just patient-centered, because the patient also has to pay attention to the person they are addressing. It is a two-way.
Oh yes, it is. It's a two-way, and I forget the actual person behind it, but communication is 93% non-verbal and only 7% verbal. The words only constitute 7%. So as I'm sitting here right now, the way I'm sitting, my face, facial expressions, the gestures, the tone of my voice, yes, all that is communicating without even the words. By the time I've said, hi,
We can already tell
yes,
how Trish is today.
yes, yes, yes. So this is very important in healthcare.
Have you had an experience where you feel like maybe you are ignored, maybe, or under, what can I say, like they were not paying enough attention to your
yes.
needs,
Oh yes,
or
actually,
you felt misunderstood?
yes, yes, yes. Actually, and this is very common even today. You know, previously doctors would turn away when they're writing notes. Nowadays, they're turning away into a gadget. So they're either feeding it into a tablet or a computer. I have a recent hospital visit where I was talking to the doctor and I actually stopped and waited for him to type whatever he was typing so that we continue the conversation, because the fella was lost in the keyboard. He was looking for the A, for the Q, and in the process, I'm like talking to.
Technology is becoming a problem.
Yes. So even with the writing, maintain eye contact with your patient. It's very important, because then it shows that you're actually concerned. And remember, the patient is at a place where they're looking for help and understanding.
And eye
Yes.
contact also helps is a non-verbal way of showing interest and that you're actively listening.
Exactly. And it also helps to portray empathy, because as you maintain eye contact, you are able to show understanding, empathy, where someone is talking about their pain. You can be able to feel their pain with them. And again, it's been said that empathy is a very essential aspect of healthcare, because through empathy, you're able to translate that person's feelings and put it into words. Yes. So when you can do that, and I've seen that through some nurse. I have even one nurse in mind at MP Shah who made me feel so taken care of. I almost forgot I was in pain.
So there are nurses who are actually not rude. Unamwambia, nasikia I'm feeling the pain is becoming too much for me, and then like jikaze tu.
Yes, in fact, another one will even pretend they didn't hear you.
You've come this far, you can do it.
Yeah. And they'll even wonder if you could be able to come this far. You came in walking. What pain is this that's suddenly killing you? Not realizing that sometimes when you get to hospital, you finally have now let your guard down. I am where I need help. So the pain will check in fully. So psychologically, be empathetic, and it is through communication, through your nonverbal cues, your body language, and through expressing empathy.
So there's also another issue of jargon in the medical field. I think it hampers effective communication, because sometimes we misinterpret or totally fail to understand the instructions, or even what is there. So how can health workers simplify the jargon, maybe?
And we're also guilty of it here at Beyond Conditions. I have been asked severally by some of you viewers, what does chronic mean? And perhaps use this episode to be able to share this. Chronic means something which is recurring, something which has existed for more than 3 months, and something which has been with you and perhaps will work with you for a longer period of time. Mostly we're looking at 3 months or more than that, and that which is recurring. It may be defined differently here and there, but that's a basic way to express it.
Okay.
Now, that's medical jargon. They will tell you, oh, you have a chronic condition.
But for me, if you tell me I have a chronic condition, my mind automatically associates it with pain. So does it have to be painful for it to be chronic, or it can be chronic and not painful in some conditions?
Oh, yes, it can be chronic and not painful. Of course, most of the time, disease means a malfunction, and a lot of times the body will indicate a malfunction through pain. But it's not the only thing that chronic covers. Chronic just covers that which is recurring and is existing within the long term.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are many other jargon that you will stumble upon out there, because doctors sometimes forget, and health workers in general sometimes forget that they are talking to laymen. And when you break this down, you promote understanding, you help people to understand their condition or whatever treatment options they have, and you even help them with better health outcomes. Now, for instance, you tell someone, take this medicine, BD. You've written there BD on the, or even on the prescription. What they're trying to tell you is take this medicine twice a day.
BD twice a day?
Yeah, twice a day. And the twice a day, I know we, conversely to what most of us do, thinking twice a day is morning and evening.
Yeah.
Twice a day is the 24-hour. So if you're taking at 6 a.m., you take the other one at 6
p.m.
6 a.m., 6 p.m. So 6 hours, 12 hours away. Yeah. So it's not supposed to be
necessarily
during the
morning
sun
and evening.
No, during the sun time. The sun time could be 10 hours, 12 hours. No, it's the 24-hour day. TID is 3 times a day. 3 times a day, break your 24 hours into 3. And you probably take one maybe in the morning at 8. 8 hours later, you probably take the next one around 4 or something. Then maybe the other one at midnight. Yeah, so doctors and health workers generally, because even pharmacists are under this, it's important to break this down. You tell someone, this medicine needs to be given IV. It's important to break it down and say it's being given intramuscular or intravenous. And they will go on, and even, there's jargon all out there. They'll tell you this injection is needed start. Start means immediately. And in fact, you've seen now people are commonly abusing these things and like, I'll deal with you, start. Yeah, so this is medical jargon. And if you don't break it down, people will not understand, patients will not understand. And the risk of that is they will not be able to comprehend their treatment fully and their condition. And if they did, they would be able to actually handle themselves better, make better decisions, and it would lead to better health outcomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you ever been a victim
of all this jargon?
BD I was like, BD twice a day. And then it is 12 hours in a day. I do 8.
You do 8?
Actually, just to make sure by the end of the day,
you have taken the next one
twice.
So even if you took the first one at 10, you will take the next one in the
9
evening.
or even at 8.
Yeah, and that's the risk.
And I know most of us are a victim because we at night, I'm going to sleep. What can happen when I'm sleeping?
And that medicine is given for its potency. And the study behind it, the pharmacokinetics, sorry for using jargon, is that it probably has the strength of 12 hours. And within the next maybe 6 or so hours, it will start getting weak or something.
So
if you have a virus, it will get strong if you don't take within the required time, and it will become resistant to the drug.
And if you're taking it in less than the required amount of time, then you could overdose.
You could overdose, exactly. Actually, it's good you bring up that point, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, so
we've been risking our lives.
So BD twice a day, and that means within 24 hours, not morning and evening.
Okay.
Yes.
And can patients advocate for themselves when you maybe you feel unheard, you've talked? How do healthcare providers feel about this? I think most of them,
Mm.
they feel like we are judging them for their competency when you start asking follow-up questions. What is this you're injecting
It is
me?
true.
What do you mean by BD? They feel like you're
You're
trying to
questioning.
tell them what to do with
You're
you.
questioning their qualifications, and you're
Yes.
thinking that it's true that I've seen that.
Mm.
And I've also seen that sometimes they want to impose their decisions on you.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, the decision is the patient's. I know at one point a doctor came on to me and told me, with adenomyosis, you have to remove your uterus. And to be honest, the communication was not as it was supposed to be. So what happened? I actually became opposed to this decision, yet it was a good decision for me. So when the doctors, when the health workers communicate effectively, then you know that this is a decision that I should actually support, and it will promote better health outcomes in my care.
And
So that has happened to me.
And one should also not feel guilty for inquiring. Me, I've ever refused an injection because me needles terrify me. So I always ask, is there any other option?
Exactly. Yeah. Ask
Is
questions.
it a must?
Yes.
What would happen if I refused the injection?
Yeah. So that you understand. So it's important. Patients out there, ask questions. Keep asking questions, because it is part, and it constitutes effective communication, and it does help you in terms of decision making. It empowers you. Yeah. And please, health workers, communicate.
Hapo kwa communicate, I think our health workers in the country burn out. They're usually tired by the time they get to work. How does that affect effective communication?
So burnout is a systemic problem. I know that they deal with many patients at any one given time. And we've even seen, even just with the recent protests, so many trauma patients being taken quickly into the emergency section of hospitals. So the key thing here is to address the systemic issues. But while at it, dear health workers, please, we understand you're tired, but don't express your burnout in your face. Don't show your fatigue to the patients. The patients are also just dealing with their own challenges in their systems. So try and be compassionate and show empathy.
Okay. And there's also issue of idiosyncrasies and cultural beliefs in the healthcare communication system. How does it impact or affect?
That's like the idiosyncrasies, like the Kenyan way of doing things.
Yeah.
Sijui nasikia aje hapa leo, and you will hear an old lady say, mgongo imekataa.
Leo mwili si yangu.
Hii mwili si yangu. They are not saying this body is not theirs. They are saying my body is ill. That person, if you don't watch out, is unwell, and they may just pass out on you. So whenever you're faced with this, healthcare workers, patients, and the general public, respond appropriately when someone raises such idiosyncrasies. Culturally, things like touch, especially male-female, is shunned in African culture, in the Kenyan culture. And we've seen it. A lot of hospitals have introduced it. I think it's even shunned even out there. So sometimes if you have a right of not really you have a right, you need to carry out an exam. But the best way to carry out this exam is to first bring in a nurse, and then now let the patient know that I'm going to touch your body, your tummy. Otherwise, it will be misinterpreted as sexual assault.
So, by the way, talking about this comfort about being diagnosed and all that, have you ever had an incident maybe where you felt like you are not expressing yourself enough, and then through the follow-up questions the doctor was making, you are able to express yourself better because the way they were presenting themselves, that you are comfortable enough to actually respond honestly or truthfully, because we sometimes lie out of discomfort.
Yes. And again, maybe I bring in case in point endometriosis. It took the doctor to ask me if I had any challenges at any one point in my sexual activity, because it may not happen all the time, but when you're led, then you realize, actually, yes, there are times when there has been pain during sexual intercourse. And that helped to reach the diagnosis and to realize that maybe the endometriosis had spread. Yeah.
So it becomes painful at some point.
Yes, yeah, it's at some point. It's not all the time. It's at some point, and when the doctor leads you, then you understand.
So, in a nutshell,
Mhm.
what is your takeaway for today in effective communication in the healthcare system?
Um, the message I would like to communicate out there is effective communication is not a luxury in healthcare system, in healthcare management. Effective communication is a lifeline. It is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. So, viewers, communicate effectively, healthcare workers, patients, communicate effectively, because then it ensures that you actually have better healthcare outcomes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And please remember to subscribe, to share, to like our content, because then that way we're able to do a lot more, as we're even able to engage with you and comment about this as well. And let us hear what you have to say, your experiences, and perhaps more information that you have around this subject. And I've been your host, Trish Barasa.
And I was the co host for today, Marilyn Josephine.
See you again soon. Bye bye.